Hi, everyone. Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining. As often is the case with Hyper Island alumni, we asked 4 alumni from very different programs, backgrounds, and all 4 said yes. So it's a privilege to be here to talk to you today. So I'm going to jump around and ask you different questions, really. I'd like to start with Shin, if that's okay, and ask you what's the program that you studied and why did you choose Hyper Island to be involved?
I joined Hyper Island in 2019 in digital experience design course. And I think back then I really wanted to learn about how to get closer to people and also overlooking design as a spectrum, not only for like styling device, but how can we expand from there? How can we really innovate from there? And I think Hyper was the right channel to reach out to.
Yeah, thank you. And what learnings did you take from the program that helped you then build on that? What were your key learnings?
If I were to summarize it, I think I can split them into 2 key chunks. The first one was the art of collaboration. I think Hyper really helped me to understand a lot more about like team management. How do we build psychological safety across team really fast, really strongly, and how can we really foster a process that enable innovation. Yeah, I think that was one big chunk. And the other one was the art of learning. How can we train ourselves to be ever resilient in this ever-changing world? How can we learn to upskill ourselves, unlearn and relearn? I think that was really big takeout from my experience with Hyper.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. So that part around dealing with complexity of change on a constant basis, and you use the word process as well, which is very much a part of how we deliver the learning on a Hyper Island Masters. It's not just about content; processes of equal importance, right? So thank you so much for drawing that out. I'd love to go over to Rita and thinking about those parts of content and process and that complexity around change. You're a little bit further on your journey after Hyper Island. Can you talk about what program you're on, when it was, and how that ability to work with change is supporting you now?
Fantastic. Yep. I did the MA on digital management in 2015. And at the moment, I am a service design lead at Calusa. Calusa is basically taking on, I think, that one of the most important challenges we face right now, which is to decarbonize our grid and make sure that we lower our footprint, especially in the UK, but the ambition is to go globally. I'm telling you this little spiel because as service design, I didn't know what service design was before Hyper Island. Didn't know it was a possibility because I used to be in advertising, which is a little box. So Hyper, essentially, it can be, I take that back. Hyper really opened my eyes and gave me new tools. And what's happening now is that I'm able to build a team. I'm able to help around 800 of my colleagues collaborate by creating frameworks. So you gave me hacks. That's what you did. You taught me how to hack culture and make people feel seen.
That's great. So the tools to be able to create collaboration, and again, to handle complexity, collaboration and effective group dynamics is essential, isn't it, to be able to get to that change? Thank you. We'll come back to you in a second just to draw out that. I'd like to go over to Graziella, who also is a little bit further on from her journey with Hyper. What are you doing now, and what was the program that you're on?
So the program I started was the Masters in Digital Management in London. So it was a part-time master. I flew into London once a month from Zurich, Switzerland, where I live right now. And actually, just when I started Hyper Island, I got promoted as a head of digital strategist for Swiss Public Broadcast, where I was leading a big team trying to enable digital transformation. And it was a huge company, like compared to the BBC, but Swiss size. And after a while, I was more and more interested in how do I integrate this knowledge in different companies. So SF alone wasn't enough for me. And right now, I have the honor to help Hyper Island expand to Switzerland. So it's a huge challenge to bring this knowledge, to bring this experience also to other Swiss companies. And as you can hear, I gained so much from this experience in London. It was just so amazing, the combination of a business school, a school that helps you to navigate in this uncertainty, and also really to feel what a team is really meaning, and how important teams, how important reflection, self-reflection is in terms of transformation. And those skills I try to give on now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, so your experience with London, and particularly the part-time experience, thinking about that, you talked about team formation, but obviously because it's part-time, you're coming in and out all the time. How did you keep the team building, even though you weren't in the campus all the time?
So I think the first week you told about this kickoff week, I forgot the name.
Yeah,
like we had this amazing team building week. Like we got separated after that for only 1 week, and everyone was spread over all Europe and already kind of crying like back in the days in the scouts camp. Oh, you're not going to see each other again. So we kept on track online, and during each module we had this online experience. So it was also, we always had a challenge with a real client. Like my team had one on to work together with the BBC, which was really special because I also was working in a broadcast company at that time, and we could collaborate as a group in, I think it was 3 different time zones. But this also helped me how to train how to collaborate digitally. And of course, the weeks we were in London were also very special. So we got really close as a team, and also kept this connection online during the time we were back home.
Yeah, thank you. So the tools and techniques you're able to keep going, I guess using those in the real world, your day-to-day work is just as powerful, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, over to you, Yash. Thank you so much for your patience and waiting for me to ask you some questions now. So tell us a little bit about your experience or the program that you were on, and what made you decide to come into Hyper Island, please.
So I was in the Masters in Digital Experience Design last year, so 2020 batch. I started in January. What made me choose Hyper is one of my seniors from college, my undergrad, was a student in Hyper Sweden. And I spoke to her about it. And the way she described the experiences that she was having, which was mostly the first 2 weeks, as Graziella just mentioned, that are so wonderful in terms of the way you build culture. And I believe that I am a person that thrives in a similar environment. That is what made me choose Hyper. Uh, my experience was really good, and the way I could build connections, and the way it made me confident to build my own connections also. It's helping me now. So currently, I'm working in a startup that I connected with them during my thesis. So it was really good. And unfortunately, we went remote after 2 months of campus time. So I guess the key part over here is Hyper has a value that's real world ready, right? And to a lot of people, it doesn't really make sense because they haven't experienced that. But by the end of my 6 months in Manchester, I think I definitely felt like I was equipped enough to go in the industry with the kind of work we did, even after going remote.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's an important point, and I really appreciate you bringing this up, because I'm sure those that have dialed in to join this will, on their minds is the pandemic and ongoing disruption to travel and so on, and I think that understanding of how we transitioned from in person to online is key. I mean, what what were the key kind of things that you draw out from that experience? Obviously, for you went through the process of moving because the pandemic hit us all, and we none of us knew what to do and how to respond to it. Of course, complexity and change being central to that, we approached it as a group, as a team, and we came in together with you as students and us as program leaders to do it. But what for you really stood out from that experience and that transition, and how we then took it on?
For me, I think I appreciated that we were proactive and not reactive. So we didn't wait for the regulations to come in, whether we're going remote or not. When we saw that it's a matter of when and not if, we all decided what's best for everyone. We first of all, we understood what kind of a mindset everyone was in, because it's difficult times for everyone. And then as a group of people in a studio, we decided that we should try out these things, see if they work out, and then if they do, then we can keep working on them. So that was a really good one for me. So it was like proactive, as I said.
That was a key moment to make that decision, and yeah, to be all in to the next step. And then of course we were also all in into supporting that process. So what are you involved with now? You talked about your industry research project and how that's what you're working on that.
Yeah, so this is something I would have never imagined, but I actually moved towards a little bit of psychology and behavior science because of an industry leader. I was really interested in it. And so I did my thesis on psychological needs and experiences. And during that process, I tried to connect with industry experts. And as it turned out, one of them, they were they were creating their own product, and they had started their own company. And they were kind enough to offer me a chance to check out what it is. And it turned out that the culture that they had was very well fit with what hyper culture is. And even the product is focused on self-learning and growth. So at that time, I was like, right out of college, it was very relatable for me. It still is. So I felt like that's a place where I can take all the things I learned from hyper and apply them there. So it turned out that it was a really good fit for me.
What an amazing opportunity. And I think it's that thing of people being fixated on the word digital, and actually digital is just a word, right? So it's about a mindset, and that mindset you gained and built at Hyper Island is one that can be taken into a different discipline that you've not been involved with before. So I'm so pleased to hear that. Rita, just back to you just for a moment before we then go over to another one of our colleagues. How do you feel about that kind of transition, of understanding, digital and how that can be broken apart, and actually it's about mindset and behaviors more so?
When you say breaking digital, what do you mean? Like opening it up and discovering what's inside?
Good question. In fact, digital is simply just a word, and it's not about, we talk about digital transformation, but actually transformation is far more than just the word digital.
Right. So it turns out that what we do is design relationships, because the machine's not going to build itself. We're people building things, right? So if what you learn at Hyper is how to work with other humans that are as human as you are. So it's the only way to get things done and to innovate. So yes, please.
I love it. Thank you. What a great and clear summary. Thank you.